Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anonymous Addiction. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Bobby C, and we're going to be talking about step 2, integrate shadow work. Talking about shadow work, Carl Jung. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, but we're deprogramming the 12 steps. It's a 12-part series, deprogramming one step at a time. But as we talk about deprogramming each step, we're going to talk about some true shadow work. And I'm going to be posting some things on Anonymous Addiction at My Truth About AA, as Bobby C sees it, private group on Facebook, to talk a lot about different shadow work information. So don't forget to check those posts out. We're going to be talking about step 2 today. Now I'm reading from the 12 and 12. As everyone knows, they have 12 and 12 step book meetings. They got big book meetings. They got as Bill sees it meetings. That's why I call myself as Bobby C sees it, because I got sick of reading it as Bill sees it. And I said to myself, no, it's really as Bobby should see it. And all these steps go contradicted to as I see it. They all want me to see it as they see it. When I talk about they, I talk about the pyramid structure of Alcoholics Anonymous. Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So that means that I'm insane. Restore me to sanity means that they're saying that I'm insane. Step 1, they say I'm powerless. My life's unmanageable. Step 2, they say, you better get a higher power because you're insane. And this higher power can bring you back to sanity. When I talk about in step 1, they mention the sponsor. Now, I was lucky. Someone was sent to me. His name was Lonnie. I didn't even know the word sponsor, never even heard of a sponsor. He never even came in and said, hey, I'm going to be your sponsor. He came over and became my friend. And that's my advice. Find a friend in this thing. If you're in Alcoholics Anonymous, find a friend. Don't go to a sponsor. The sponsors are created in Alcoholics Anonymous to be like priests from the Catholic Church. Priests. They're like they're AA therapists with no knowledge or education, which is okay. There's people that do have wisdom, and I'm not denying that. But here you go, you come in, you got 2 days, and you're going to seek out somebody with 6 months, and they're going to be your sponsor. I'll tell you the truth. In the beginning, I was lucky. Lonnie came to me. He became my friend. Now, I didn't go to a step meeting for a year. He never even asked me to do a step. He never even opened the big book with me. We had a connection. It was like a connection. It was a friendship. We had a lot in common. That's what attracted me. You know, that friendship attracted me. I think if he would have founded a big book and told me to go to step meetings, I would have left. I was lucky. But, I didn't trust. Look, I looked around. I observed. I was thinking. I was questioning. I was observing, and I was becoming aware just in the meetings alone. And I didn't trust at all. And that was a good thing. That was a real good thing. I looked, and I'd observed. And when Lonnie kind of transitioned somewhere else, I needed to get another sponsor, because if you don't have a sponsor, oh my God, that's all they say. You don't have a sponsor? So most people get a sponsor just for the sake of saying they have one. And that's a definite, okay? And So I did get one. I got bricklayer out. He was a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and he studied and he used to do groups in a rehab. So I trusted him, and he wasn't even a big book thumper either. I seeked out people that I felt I could trust. And there was years that I didn't go with sponsors, years. Okay. Then I seeked out another sponsor who became a good friend. I had a lot of good, maybe about 4 or 5 good friends, older gentlemen, and I was fortunate. Getting back to step 2, I'm sorry about that. So they always talked about a higher power outside. And I was always, even in the beginning, I was picking up books and spiritual books, or just, like Wayne Dyer, even Anthony Robbins. They talked about the self. They talked about responsibility, becoming responsible for my life and my destiny, So I had to look inside. It was always contradicting, kind of like I'm looking outside. I don't believe in this God, but they describe about they describe every human being in here that doesn't believe in God their way. They describe everyone. Everyone is mentioned in here in this 8 pages, 8.5 pages. In step 2, came to believe that a power greater than myself. I found out that I was this self that I was looking for. It was a higher self inside of me, but I found out that I was part of this collective consciousness too. I was part of, I wasn't separate from. That helped, that made a difference, but I kept on having, something was wrong. I was seeking more. I had to be wrong because they kept on telling me through coercive persuasion. And that's what this whole book is about. Coercive persuasion. They don't care if you're agnostic, atheist. They don't care if you're a non-believer. They don't care if you had faith and lost it. They don't care if you're religious. You're not doing it right unless you do it this way, unless you find your higher power. When they say God, they mean AA. When they say AA, they mean God. Here's some things that they talk right in the first paragraph. They tell you about the first step. You have convinced us that we are alcoholics. Now they're saying you have convinced us. That in itself is a message. You have, no, they didn't convince me yet. I'm still reading it. You have convinced us that we're alcoholic in the first step, and then our lives were unmanageable in the first step, right? Having reduced us to a single absolute helplessness, they convinced us that we're alcoholics, life's unmanageable, and we're helpless. Oh, that's so great. Now let's move on to step 2, where they could just say that anything that I've ever done in my life is really belligerent and defiant because I don't buy in to exactly the way they want to. I'm the belligerent one, described only as a savage. I'm reading from the book, right? That's only on the first page. At this juncture, his AA sponsor usually laughs. His sponsor probably says, take it easy. Because he knew a one-time vice president of the American Atheist Society that got through the hoops with room to spare. He didn't. Atheist, agnostic, in Alcoholics Anonymous, you didn't do anything different. You just made Alcoholics Anonymous even bigger. That's all you did, calling it, that's traditional AA, and this is free thinking, atheist, agnostic AA. Like it's something, you're still under the authority of Alcoholics Anonymous. They talk about you belligerent ones in here, okay? Militia, the militia atheist, right? They talk about all of you in here, and you changed it in your books and they wrote another little pamphlet for you, and they gave you one big tent and satisfied you, you're still believing, you're still belief in an authority, which is their God. You're still believing in that. So atheists and agnostics, listen up, okay? In the atheist and agnostic societies of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm talking to you too, okay? They tell us to agrees with the sponsor. First, Alcoholics Anonymous, listen to this. Alcoholics Anonymous does not demand that you believe anything. It tells me here that I must. There's no must in AA. There's many, many musts. Okay. If you must do this in the traditions, lest you surely will die. Okay. Two, right now, looking back, I find I look piecemeal. Third, all you need to do is really have a truly open mind. Just resign from the debating society. Resign from that debating society. Don't question. It says, quit bothering yourself with such deep questions. Don't question yourself. Surrender. Your sponsor will tell you, surrender. The sponsor has one job, and that is to take you through the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, one step at a time, and to have you recruit another. So you can get a sponsor, sponsee. So you get a sponsor has a sponsor, the sponsor has a sponsor. It's like a big pyramid. It goes this way, big multi-marketing recovery scheme. Talks about, oh, don't worry about it here. Large group of people who have solved their problems. In this respect, they are certainly a power greater than you. Yeah, they are. It's a group think tank. And it's all the same agenda, messaging, parroting, repetition, slogans said over and over and over again. Let's continue. Next page. And when I talk about coercive persuasion, listen how it's done. It's constantly done over and over again. Consider the next plot of those who once had faith but lost it. They had self-sufficiency, prejudice against religion, downright defiant because God had failed them. Hey, you know what? Damn right, I am defiant and rebellious against religion because religion is a control mechanism to control society. Even the government, there's no separation of church and state. Right on the dollar bill, it says, in God we trust. We live in a Christian society, right? That's all good. No, I don't buy it. I don't believe in it. And it's my choice, and I'm free to decide what I choose to think and believe. There's certain things that I know without question. Certain things I just believe, but there's no integration, no coming together, no holistic coming together. The 12 steps suppress. It doesn't allow you to do true shadow work. It doesn't allow you to be responsible to create your identity and bring the unconscious to the conscious level of awareness. It suppresses down. They don't want you to have knowledge or education, self-sufficiency. We saw that we had to consider or die. Fear, guilt, shame, 12 12 steps are the opposite of this. Shadow, true shadow, or call it whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter what we call these things. You could call it shadow work, you could call it whatever you want to call it. It doesn't allow us, it's the opposite of the process of finding ourselves. 12 steps are the opposite of the process of finding our true self, to find our higher self, to integrate the shadow, the negative and the positive. Matter of fact, it doesn't want us to check things out. It says in here, don't look at the negative. I have to look at the negative. The world is made up of negative and positive. I have to look at the negative. I don't have to be negative, but I have to acknowledge the negative, even the negativity inside of me. I have to be allowed to do that. That's higher self. It's higher power, higher self. And when I first came in 38 years ago, they used to talk about the inner child, Bradshaw, the inner child work. Talk about, they didn't have a big book or a name or a place. When Bill and Bob met, Roland H. was in the Oxford group. They didn't have a name or a book for like 4.5 years. So that's proof that you can stay sober, this sobriety, this name abstinence or moderation or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to be habitually addicted to a drink or a drug, because they did it back then. They proved it. They didn't even have books or names, but they believed it was all them. It was always coming from them, but they never acknowledged it. See, they always missed the mark. Dr. Carl Jung said self-seeking, becoming aware, observation, integration, connectedness, understanding the collective consciousness and how it affected us. It's still today. That's why I say uncover, recover, and discover the truth about AA, NA, 12 steps, any society, our society, the world. Uncover, recover, and discover these things. Seek, and you shall find. They don't want you to seek. They don't want you to go outside the triangle here. At no time had we asked what God's will was for us. Not forget what your will's for you. Forget your will. Forget your life. Give your care over to Alcoholics Anonymous. Give your life and will and care over to Alcoholics Anonymous, God, Alcoholics Anonymous, AA. It's all the same. No man we saw could believe in God and defy him. Belief meant reliance, not defiance. Now let's take the guy full faith, but still reeking of alcohol. Whoa. The fact was, we really hadn't cleaned house so that the grace of God could enter us and expel the obsession. The grace of God could not enter us. The grace of God outside could not enter us. We enter the collective conscious. We had even played rightly. We remained self-deceived and so incapable of receiving enough grace to restore us to sanity. There we go again. We're insane. We must restore ourselves to sanity. Problem drinkers, some will be willing to term themselves problem drinkers, but cannot endure the suggestion that they are in fact mentally ill. We're mentally ill. Sanity is defined as soundness of mind. So step 2 is a rallying point here for all of us, whether agnostic, atheists, former believers. We don't care. It's a rallying point because true humility and an open mind can lead us to faith. And every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore us to sanity if we rightly related ourselves to Him. It's not religious though. Right? Remember, this is a deprogramming podcast. Step 2. Don't forget to subscribe to Anonymous Addiction right here on YouTube. And check us out, please. Check us out on Anonymous Addiction at My Truth About AA as Bobby C sees it. And when I say as Bobby C sees it, what I'm saying is as you see it, as Michael sees it, as Tommy sees it, as Joey C sees it, as Rainey sees it, as Tyler sees it. I don't care who it is. It's as you see it because you create your destiny. It comes from you, this beautiful mind, body, spirit. Yes, I believe in spirit. I'm going to say spirit. You want to say emotions, feelings, or whatever. I don't care what your belief is. I'm just expressing mine. So watch out, ladies and gentlemen. The relationship between a sponsor. Watch that, okay? Watch what you're getting fed, okay? Because in Alcoholics Anonymous, there's no rational, logical, critical thinking. There's no analytical psychology going on in there, okay? There's a bunch of brainwashing, repetitious phrases constantly to get you to believe that Alcoholics Anonymous is the cure to your addiction, which addiction isn't even real. It's a habit. I used to drink and drug, but now I don't. I used to smoke cigarettes, but I don't today. Now, does that make me abstinence? No, it makes me not. That's my behavior today. That's my choice today. I don't even like the word anymore, abstinent. I don't even like the word moderation because what is that? What does that really mean? Okay, I talked to a bunch of people and that they admit they have a habit of doing some things and they're okay with it. They're honest with it. They're not talking about controlling moderation, even though I believe in choices. I believe in, look, harm reduction. You're doing less harm to your body. Your harm reduction. You're experiencing pain and maybe easing and having a better pleasurable time to deal with certain things. If you're going in a direction where you're working towards this thing, quitting, eventually exiting, that's great too. Whichever way you just, I'm not trying to manipulate you into changing to what I do. Okay. You got to be good for what you do. You know, when they talk about we got to look inside, that's what shadow work is about. The integration of the deep stuff from childhood that we've been indoctrinated with, that we've been told through our parents, their grandparents, their parents, their parents, generational. This is generational, okay? There's no blame here. There's no blaming anybody, okay? The collective consciousness of society through ancestry, ancient, put on to us, okay? We're doing shadow work with that, not just in ourselves, in our families, but in the communities, in society, in our culture. We're breaking it down and becoming aware, bringing the subconscious. this unconscious to the consciousness awareness of really what the hell is going on here. Okay, really take a look at it, because we are, school is a programming or governmental system. Okay, from kindergarten, from preschool. Okay, because kids nowadays, they do 3 years of 2 years of preschool, 3 years of preschool, then they go into kindergarten, first grade to 12th grade, and then to college. It's all in the indoctrination system. I mean, I'm not saying that. Look, what'd you learn in high school? Tell me. Did they teach you things that you need to learn on the streets, or teach you anything about what we're talking about here? The courts, the government, society is all connected with this Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step BS. It's all connected because it's God. In God we trust. It's a Christian society. Okay. And talk about racism. I posted something and one person looked at the person and, they kind of looked like me and said, oh, that's racist. Look, if you want to see racists, go check the king and the queen out. Go check the dictators out. Go check the other societies out, even our government. Check them out. Who's on the courts? Yeah, that's where the racist is. The one, don't look at the media. Just look at who's controlling the world. Okay, look at who's control. How is there still a king and a queen? I hate to say it, and they're white. Okay, how is there still a queen, king and queen? We're going to do a little bit of, we're going to check out step 3 tomorrow or the next day or whatever. I'm looking to do some podcasts with Darcy. She's got a really cool thing on Instagram, and she's going to be coming on. I'm going to be doing a podcast with Tyler soon in March. Hopefully I'll get a couple. Kyle, I hope to see him come on. And a shout out to everybody. And Joey C, peace, brother. We'll see you later. Take care, everyone. Step 3, next time. Don't forget to subscribe.